Dodger manager Dave Roberts now available? First question's from Alanna Rizzo. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Dave. How did you guys settle on Dustin May as the opener tonight, and how much can you anticipate from him having just gone on Friday?
Yeah, there's just a lot of conversations, trying to think through scenarios, matchups, what potentially guys can give us tonight. And I think for us, just allowing Dustin some clarity on when he's pitching was important. And so, we'll see how long he can go, but given he went a few days ago, certainly not that long, but we'll just I expect him to go out there and pitch well, and we'll make a decision accordingly.
You had talked about so many different conversations that go into this decision. What made him a little bit more sense than Tony Gonsolin or Julio Urias to at least give you, a couple of innings?
They're a very good lineup, certainly, and I think that just the certainty of starting the game, and also knowing which hitters you're going to get for Dustin. The certainty was kind of a factor.
Do you allow yourself to get nervous, have any sort of adrenaline as a manager? How do you approach a Game 7 yourself?
I was up tossing and turning all night, kind of thinking about scenarios and situations. But the adrenaline has kicked in, excitement. Nerves not yet, but it's just more excitement and just the energy in the clubhouse and the guys' excitement, anticipation. It's a lot of fun.
And finally, for me, Doc, CT ankle good enough to be in there for your start, obviously?
Yeah, I texted him this morning and wanted to see how he felt, gave me a thumbs up, and I said, to start at second base, and he said, yes, sir, with a couple exclamation marks. So that was good enough for me.
Thank you.
Next question is from Jorge Castillo. Go ahead.
Dave, you mentioned a lot of conversations went into this. Just wondering how much more intense is the preparation for a Game 7 than these other games?
Yeah, I guess essentially we've had this is our third Game 7. So yeah, you're just looking at availability, and we've leaned on some guys. You're talking about matchups, but again, the availability and because performance matters, obviously. And so how guys have been used cuts into that potentially. So just talking about it, having good conversations with a lot of pitching people, and it's been a lot of fun. And the game, you can talk about it all you want, but once the game starts, it can go in so many different directions, and you got to be prepared for all of them.
Do you still expect Tony Gonsolin to take down multiple innings today?
Yeah, I expect him to pitch today.
How about playing Kershaw?
We'll see. He's available, but we'll see what happens with Clayton.
And also, just how much easier is it for you just knowing you have a pretty set lineup? You have a couple pieces going in and out, but compared to years past, it's a pretty set lineup. Does that make things a little easier?
Well, it does. It does. I think that we've been pretty solid 1 through 7, pretty consistent, mixing up 8 and 9. But it's been great. And guys, also, I just love the way that they've seen Ian Anderson just, less than a week ago. So all that stuff I think, plays in our favor.
Thank you.
Next question is from JP Hornstra. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dave, with the exception of the 11-run first inning, we've seen a lot of scoring late really been the determining factor in who wins these games. And I'm just wondering if you feel like this particular series has placed a special importance on choosing the right relief pitcher for the right situation, or is it really just making those in-game adjustments as an offense to whoever might be coming in?
Yeah, I think it's the starters have all pitched really well. And I just think, to be honest with you, you look back at some relievers just making mistakes. There's some luck in there on both sides. But matchups certainly are important. But, regardless, whether it's a starter, reliever, hitter, pitcher, you got to execute pitches. And so, the team that can executes the most is going to prevent the least amount of runs and prevent runs and probably win this game.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Next question is from Alden Gonzalez. Go ahead.
So how many hours of sleep did you get last night, Dave?
Consecutive, maybe 3, but I think in total, maybe 5.
Not bad.
Not bad.
What did you notice about the vibes in that clubhouse today, and how did it differentiate maybe from the last 2 days?
Similar to yesterday. Guys are excited. This is what, when you're a young kid, you're talking about game 7, winner take all. This is it. So guys are fired up, just like they were yesterday.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Next question from Jon Morosi. Go ahead.
Dave, thanks so much. I'm curious, in Ian Anderson's game 2 start, he had that long first inning. Your guys worked some great at-bats. How did you see him adjust his pitching style after that first inning?
He went soft a lot. I think a lot of these guys are pitching off their secondaries, and I think we stressed him. I think we walked 5 times that first game and got him out of there after 4. So I think we saw a lot of pitches in 4 innings. So I expect us just take good at bats, and if he makes mistakes, to capitalize.
Any other questions for Dave? Go ahead, Claudia.
Dave, we were just talking about being more aggressive. Is that like the solution, or the way that you guys are looking when it comes going into the playing in the early innings, and challenge Anderson, of course?
Yeah, I think that, if he throws the ball over the plate, we got to be ready to hit. He's throwing a lot of breaking balls, change ups, and he mixes it in his fastball. But I think certainly the most important thing for him is to get strike 1. So if we can be ready to hit from the first pitch on, I think that's a good thing for us.
Thank you.
I have one more from John. Go ahead.
Thanks. Dave, with Julio, of course, he went 5 innings in his last start. Do you still think maybe going 1 time through the lineup is something he could probably do here for you in game 7?
Yeah, he went 100 pitches a few days ago. So, he's available tonight. And, how far he goes, honestly, is how well he's throwing the baseball and how efficient. So I just can't tell you right now if it's 1 time through the order. I just really can't until, I see the ball come out of his hand.
Great. Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
I got one more from Jorge. Go ahead.
If you guys have seen guys for the first time and seen them again a bunch of times in this series, in these playoffs, really, I'm just wondering what goes into having better success the second time through. The second time, is it game plan? Is it just seeing how the ball comes out of his hand? What changes?
I think game plan is one thing. I think that it's hard to kind of go against initially how you attack a hitter, and for the most part, you're going to do the same thing and try to get to the same place. So that's one part of it, and that's the cat and mouse part of it, whether how much you deviate from it. And the other part of it is where I feel the hitter has that benefit is just seeing how a changeup, how his changeup runs, or how his fastball might ride, or how his curveball, the depth of it versus horizontal. So I think all that stuff, there's 2 kind of components for me in that.
And then just, obviously you got to win today for Tuesday to even come to mind. But how is it difficult to balance winning today with, hey, you might have a World Series game on Tuesday?
No, I think it's not. I think that, to get there is our only goal right now. And then once we get there, it's to win it. So right now, there's really kind of no balancing. It's kind of all in.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.